And we're live. Hey everyone, welcome to a special episode of MMA and Coffee. On this episode, it's a recap of UFC 221. Alright, so this is a new format. I'm going to try it out from now on after every pay per view fight, even the free fights maybe. I'm going to go live right after they happen, talk about the fights, talk about also the prediction video and see what we got right and what we got wrong. Tonight was a good night because our predictions were pretty much spot on. We only predicted the co-main event and the main event. Let's start off with the co-main event. Um, I knew that Mark Hunt, he can knock out anyone in the heavyweight division. So he always has the puncher's chance. The thing is, the way to beat Mark Hunt is through wrestling. Curtis Blaze, he has the wrestling. He got caught. He got caught. But Mark Hunt couldn't finish him. Curtis was able to get several takedowns each round. The main thing from this fight was how he was initiating the takedowns. So if he just went straight for the takedown, Mark Hunt was able to stuff him really easy. But when Mark Hunt overcommitted on his punch, so he would do this lead hook, he would overcommit on his punch, and then Curtis would just change levels, take him down easy. So, hindsight's 2020, but if I was Mark Hunt's corner, I would have told him, hey, stop throwing this lead hook. This is where he's entering the takedown and getting you. You need to keep your punches short, crisp, and keep the fight standing because that's his best way to win, not on the ground. But yeah, so Curtis is in a weird situation. I don't think he's young. I think they said he was 26. He's young. I don't see him beating people like Stipe. I know he lost to Ngannou. Maybe give him an old fighter again. I don't like young and old fighters fighting. I said this in the last recap video with the Machida and Anders, but heavyweight division is kind of stale. It needs some young blood in it. The main thing with him is I feel like he's still green. So each time we see him, he's going to be getting better still. He hasn't plateaued, I don't think. So I'm not sure who they should pick for him to fight next. Okay, so moving on to the main event. I called it, guys. Call me Mystic Mac. Call this. You know what? I'm gonna do it. Let's see if I can pull up. I'm gonna pull up our prediction video and go to the part where I actually made my prediction on what would happen with Rockhold and Romero. And if you watch fights enough, you pretty much know what people are really good at and bad at. So in these predictions, it's not that crazy that I'm saying, hey, he's going to win this way if he wins, because that's how they win their fights. It's the ones where like Stipe and Ngannou go in 5 rounds. I mean, you're not going to be able to predict that. But I think this is the safest way to assess the fight, which is to say what both guys are good at and then what they're weak at. So let me pull up our prediction video. I'm gonna pull it up on the screen too for y'all to see. Let's see. I'm gonna keep the chat up. I'm gonna bring me down some. Okay, so let's let's just pull it up. I just want to play it as a reference instead of just saying, oh, I said it. It's like, actually, nope. Here it is. We posted it February 8th. So let me go to where we predicted it. Okay, let's go. I think this is close to it.
He'll beat him. I think he's just a better athlete.
So
he's gonna out wrestle him, outwork him, and just beat the hell out of him.
So the advantage Rockhold has in this fight is his jiu-jitsu, his top game, and I think the only way he gets that is in the 4th, 5th round. So to me, Rockhold, his best chance is when Romero gets tired. Now
later rounds.
Yeah.
The later rounds are gonna tell the fight.
Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah. So whereas Romero, this dude is a freak athlete. My predictions, he finishes Rockhold. I think he finishes him. I think
even if he doesn't get, I think he's gonna win the first 3 rounds. Rockhold's gonna have to finish Romero to win this fight. That's how I see it going down. Because Romero's probably not gonna get tired until the 4th round. He's usually good for at least 15 minutes.
He's so explosive, his style.
Yeah.
People talk about his cardio, but he still finds a way somehow.
He's won.
So I think if Rockhold goes for some weird takedown, he could eat a knee. But most likely, I think Rockhold has holes in his stand-up. He has a great body kick.
Yeah.
But other than that,
he's going to be afraid to throw that.
He does.
He's going to be afraid of the takedown.
He doesn't have the boxing with the hands.
No.
And I think if he does what he did against Bisping, I mean, even when he fought Branch, he got clipped in that fight, and it's when he jabs, he lowers his hand, he doesn't bring it back up, he kind of lets it hang, and he kind of keeps his chin out. If he isn't on his game, he's going to get knocked out.
He's got to fight the perfect fight to win this fight. He can do it.
He can.
But he can't make a single mistake.
Well, the difference between this and the Bisping fight was I think he does respect Romero's power and ability to finish.
He did.
And the Bisping fight, it was just a complete lack of respect.
Yep.
And that's costing.
That's why he got knocked out.
I think if he fights smart, look, he has the ability, his top game, like I said, if Romero's tired and Rocco gets on top of him, he might finish him. He could submit him or TKO him if he's tired. But first 3 rounds, I mean, good luck against that monster.
The championship rounds, I think, if it goes to them, are going to be the most interesting rounds of the fight. That's where I'm looking at, the cliche is who wants it more, but it's kind of true.
Okay, so y'all get the gist of it. So enough of the took my own ego. Alright, so I'm going to break down the fight, how I saw it. It just happened. I've only seen it once live, but this is my analysis of the fight. So, the very beginning of the fight, Rockhold and Romero are far away, and Rockhold was implementing low leg kicks, which in the prediction I talk about his left kick. I didn't say left, but his left kick to the body is his best weapon. He also can go high with it, okay? So, but in this fight, he did low left kicks. Romero was checking him, so we'd seen Rockhold's shin get bloody, and then he would throw high kicks, but Romero was doing a really good job keeping his hands up, blocking the high kicks. Here's an interesting thing about the fight. Romero's got his hands up high, and he's kind of hand fighting, blocking. His entire torso was open for the left body kick. Rockhold didn't throw any. 0. None. So I don't know if he was afraid of Romero catching it and taking him down. But in this fight, I definitely saw Rockhold give Romero a lot of respect. And then the pace
see, this is the thing where Romero is really good at. He's really good at slowing down the fight, and he's kind of just, moving his hands, and he's distracting his opponent. And what he's doing is he's getting reads off their reactions. So he's trying to figure them out, right? And so what he does is once he figures them out or he sees an opening, he explodes. And the way to beat his style is you don't give him all this rest. At the pace they were fighting, I think he could do that for 5 rounds. There were so many times that they weren't throwing anything. Or if Rockhold did throw, it was like a 1-2. It wasn't multiple combinations. Whereas if we looked at the Whitaker fight, Whitaker was very active. He threw, 1, 2, 3, 4 combinations, and he made Romero work. Interesting thing about this fight was we never got to see any wrestling, no clinch. It was a stand-up fight. And so I talked about in the first round them being far away. If you notice by the 3rd round, Romero's really close. I mean, they were so close that they could just grab each other's arms. It was ridiculous how close they were. And if you think about it, as far as game planning against Romero, you make him work, you stay busy, and you don't stand right in front of him. So if Rockhold's content with just low kicks and jabbing, he needs a lot more lateral movement. He doesn't need to be a standing target. He needs to be moving constantly. And through that, he's going to make Romero move more and work. There was a lot of moments where they were just standing flat-footed. And so he's not using any energy. He could do that for 25 minutes. That's not a problem for him. And so this goes down to even further analysis, which is what was Rockhold's game plan? And this is going to sound really harsh, but I do not think Henry Hoof is... I think, you could go to him and he could teach you technique as far as striking and how to hit pads, but he's not going to come up with a good MMA game plan to win against specific opponents. What was Rockhold's game plan? What was it? Okay, we just got a comment. I just saw it. My, you do that to me? I love you, my. See you soon, boy. I can't do the Romero accent really good, but it's hilarious. It cracks me up. Okay, so if you're just now joining, I'm basically giving analysis on the fight. I've already went through Curtis Blades and Mark Hunt. Now I'm talking Rockhold and it was pretty bad. Matt, see you soon, boy. You do that to me? I love you. Oh goodness. Okay, we got 2 people. So Zack joined. So going back to Henry Hoof, I think he knows what he's doing as far as striking, but when it comes to MMA game plan, what was Rockhold's game plan? How was he going to win the fight? Was he just gonna? This was just going to be a stand-up fight where he just did leg kicks? How does he finish Romero? There was no clinch, so we didn't even, in my opinion, Rockhold's best skills are his grappling and jiu-jitsu. So the training should be set up to where he could get to do where he has the biggest advantage. So make him work, get him tired, so in the later rounds you can end up on top and display your advantage in the fight.
You know what? It could have been. Could have been. I'd have to rewatch the fight. Um, I wonder, you know, I'd have to rewatch and see if he continued to keep throwing them in the second and third. But either way, um, the fact that he didn't throw a single body kick, like we're talking about Romero, who is very muscular. Um, you know, he's explosive. He's not a high volume striker. So if we're wanting to drag this fight out and get him tired, the best way to do that is either through the grappling and get him tired through the wrestling, even if he has advantages, just make him work, and body shots. So one of your best weapons is left body kick to the liver. That's how you beat Philippou. He didn't throw any. So I have to wonder, like, what was his game plan, if he even had any. I'm gonna be honest, I don't think he had one. If you look at Henry Hoof, his fighters, you have someone like Rumble, Anthony Johnson, freak athlete, go against Cormier, and the second fight was the exact same fight. It was actually worse. And I just wonder if that was the right move. I do think him changing camps was okay. You know, I think mixing up was fine. But, you know, preparing specifically for an opponent so you have the best chance of winning. So my analysis is his weakness is his boxing. He's not a boxer. He doesn't keep his hands up. He has a lazy jab. Even that hook he threw was wild. Well, not wild, but I mean, he kind of, when, like, he's in southpaw, and when he threw that hook, even if, let's say, he doesn't get hit by Romero with the left counter, when he throws the hook, he has a tendency to drop his hands. You know, it's not like he's throwing the hook and bringing it right back. There was several moments I thought he did have good head movement, but a lot of it is in his punches. It's mostly his punches. He's not bringing his punch back high, and combinations. The most we've seen was a 1-2. We didn't see him change levels with his punches. He could have easily punched Romero in this lower part, because Romero, the entire fight, is up here hand fighting. His entire torso is open for punches or kicks. I called it. I thought, you know, he has holes in his defense, and when you're fighting someone like Romero, who in the fight can adapt and see openings explode and finish you, it was a bad matchup. And the sad thing is, though, I do think Rockhold has advantages in the fight. He just didn't do any of them. He definitely gave him a lot of respect. If you watch past fights where he wasn't afraid of his opponents, he controlled the center of the octagon. He walked them down. In this fight, Romero is walking him down. So he's on the outside. And if we really break it down, even when he's backing up, his chin's kind of up. To me, he's not a striker. And if I'm his coach, I would be telling him, we need to get this on the ground. Because every time we've seen him on the ground, he submits them like really quick. I mean, he has a style to where, you know, if you train right, where he could get in
the takedowns and end up on top, he really could take no damage and really extend his career a lot longer by fighting that way. I don't know why he's getting content with striking with people unless he goes somewhere where they're going to fix his tendencies. And here's the thing. The reason why I predicted that happening and it ended up happening was this is a tendency that he has in all his fights. And the main thing with tendencies is someone that's been fighting as long as he has, he's not going to have one camp and those tendencies go away, especially if they're not working on removing them. So the reason why I was confident in the prediction is because he does it in every fight. So what do you think about Romero and Whitaker rematch? Honestly, I kind of wished it was Whitaker and Rockhold just so Whitaker would have fought someone different. I'm not really big on instant rematches or rematches happening pretty close. So we're talking about, maybe later at the end of this year. Problem with that is when you have rematches so soon, neither fighter improves enough for the results to be any different. Now, the one thing I will say, since the fight went the distance, since apparently Whitaker had an injury, you would get different results in the fight. I don't think the fight would play out the same. This is mostly talking about fights that are one-sided. When it's a close fight, I still believe if they had the rematch, it's kind of going to be similar, especially if there's not enough time in between. This kind of segues into the Rose and JJ fight. I'm not big on the instant rematch, and because what's going to happen is you run into the problem where, okay, the person that lost, if they have quick rematch, they lose again. The odds of them getting a title shot again, and that, especially if the champ stays the same, is really, really low. So you're kind of ruining that for the quick money instead of letting the fighter fight 2-3 times, let a year or so go by, so when they do rematch, we have a different fight. Because if not, it's going to be the same fight. Anyways, I'm kind of excited about testing this out live on YouTube. This is the first time we're doing it right after an event. I think I'm gonna start doing it after every event, talk about the fights. If people join, I can easily talk to them in the chat room like this. I think it's pretty cool. I don't really have anything else to say. I already said it all in the video. I kind of want to keep it short. I don't want to be rambling for a long time because I feel like most people aren't going to click on it or listen to the whole thing. So I try to keep it straight to the point and concise. Anyways, crazy. If you really think about Romero's MMA career, it's pretty crazy. Imagine if he had actually fought in MMA at a younger age, because I mean he's in his 40s and he's finishing these people on the feet. It's amazing. He's a freak athlete. I think one thing that gets downplayed about him is I think he's actually really smart. For him to adapt inside the fight and figure out his opponents and then finish them, that shows that he has a high fight IQ. Whereas you watch some fighters that maybe they don't watch MMA a bunch, or maybe they just kind of know a couple things. So you see them in the fight, they do the same move over and over, and if something's not working, they don't adapt inside the fight. They just keep doing the same thing. He's not one of those people. So yeah, I kind of, I guess, you know what, it's middleweight's weird. Let me see. Let me pull up the rankings real quick. Let me talk about that. If I pull up the rankings for middleweight, because if we look at it, there really isn't. I mean, other than Romero, there isn't really anyone else. Okay, so I'm looking at it right now, and we had Rockhold. He just lost. We got Jacare, who just won. And he beat Brunson. And we got Weidman, who beat Kelvin. And then right below Weidman's Kelvin and Bisping. So Whitaker's already beat Jacare. He's not going to fight Kelvin or Bisping. They're too low. He's not going to fight Weidman off of one fight win. So Jacare, Weidman, I wouldn't include them in contender just because they got one win. Before that, they had a loss. Same thing with Kelvin. Kelvin lost to Weidman, then he just beat Bisping. So really, there is no one else in the middleweight division unless Whitaker just takes a long time off for them to be someone else other than Romero, because you think Jacare and Weidman for the next one? You know what? It's kind of weird because, in my opinion, I think Romero, if he didn't lose to Whitaker, he basically is the champ. He's beaten so many people. I think we can all agree that Whitaker and Romero are the top two. They've pretty much beaten everyone, or they've beaten, some of the top guys. Yeah, I like Jacare against Weidman. Let's make Kelvin against Rockhold. I know that's another person that's way bigger than him, but you know what though? I kind of don't like the matchup with Kelvin and Rockhold, because if Weidman took Kelvin down and you've seen the size difference, I mean, if Luke has any brain left after that KO, he would just take Kelvin down and submit him. But maybe that's what they need, that's a fight to make in between. Or, you know what? We could have Kelvin against Brunson and Bisping against Machida for his last fight. Yep, exactly. Yep. So yeah, no, it's Anderson versus retirement, and the same thing with Vitor. Like, both of them. Just stop. My goodness. So yeah, I think those are the fights to make. We'll have the Whitaker Romero rematch, even though, in my opinion, I don't like quick rematches, but there's no one else. Like, who he's going to fight? Rockhold was the person he was going to fight, and he just got knocked out by Romero, so. Oh my goodness. Let's see. I think I can tell how long I've been streaming, if it says. Let me check real quick. Okay, it's been about 30 minutes. I think that's plenty of time. Oh. Who's hey, I called it in the prediction. I said Romero, left hand. Luke, his right hand is sloppy. He doesn't keep it up. He either does it wide or he leaves it hanging low. That's how Bisping caught him. Well, thanks for stopping by. So I'm thinking about doing live streams after every fight, which will be a new setup. I think that'll work because right after the fight, everyone's talking about it. So to post a video or to go live when everyone's got the fight fresh on their mind, I think that's the perfect time to put out content. So from now on, that's what I'm gonna do. As soon as the fight's over, when I can, I'll go live. I'll tweet it, post it wherever I can, so people can see it that we're live and we can talk about the fights. Well, you know what? What's interesting about the wrestling aspect is he didn't even try. I thought that, at least when it came to scrambles and the jiu-jitsu part, I thought Luke had an advantage. But he didn't even go there, which was interesting. I mean, at least clinch with him just to see if he have any physical advantage. You know what? You're completely right. I think he did. He had a lot of respect for Romero, and I think he was afraid of being on his back. I mean, if we watched the way Romero took Machida down and finished him so quick, Rocco's probably thinking, I don't want to be on my back against this dude. I'm going to keep it standing. I'm going to stay far away from him. But if you watch the fight, first round he was far away, but by the third, man, they were so close. Romero had slowly got close to him, and he had slowed down the fight, and he read his openings and went for the kill. All right, so I think I'm going to end the stream. I've been broadcasting long enough, I think, for me to post it so people can rewatch the video and it not be too long. In the comments below, let me know what you think about the card. Who do you think should fight next? If you like this format, I'm definitely thinking about doing it more often. Because this is cool. I get to talk to other people about the fights right after it happens. But yeah, if you like this, check out our prediction for this card because it was pretty much spot on. And don't forget to subscribe. And we're going to try to stay more active and have a routine on when we put out videos to talk about the fights. Alrighty. So y'all have a good night. It was a pretty good card. Can't wait till the next one. See y'all next time.